The government of God and the rule of God. We're going to take off on the Melchizedek from the concept of the king, breaking it down from Melchizedek, from the word Melech meaning king, and we're going to deal more with the king because I was commissioned, as well as you were, to preach the gospel of the kingdom. So let's preach the gospel of the kingdom today and leave churchianity out of it for a moment. Let's just forget all about that region, that realm, and go right directly to the kingdom of God. Letting you know that the Aaronic order of priesthood is finished. We're in the Melchizedek priesthood, the Melchizedek order of kings and priests. Now, that in mind, a king has two primary elements that's involved in his purpose. He is both be involved in a domain and a dominion. He's supposed to know how to take dominion, and he's supposed to understand his sphere of activity, his province. And he's got to know how to operate in the whole region and realm that God has distributed to him. So Christ being our king, king of this king, I am a king, and being a king, then I have to know two things: how to have dominion, what to dominate, and what not to dominate, how to rule, how not to rule, how to rule but not lord over God's heritage. I have to break it down to know all that. Then what is the domain? What is the territory? What's the geographical region that I'm supposed to rule in? That has to come by revelation of Jesus Christ in His Word. Now, to deal with this word kingdom, I'm going to break it down into two Greek words that deal with the word government or govern, government, as well as the word rule. You're dealing with two primary words here. If you're going to have a kingdom, you're going to have a government. If you're going to have a government, you're going to have a rule. Now let me take you to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace. Now notice that term, King of righteousness, King of peace. Of the increase of his government. And by the way, I'd like you to, an interesting word here, it says the government shall be upon his shoulder. I'll just select it for you. I'd like to just read it to you, even though I can say it's the word empire. Now I know some of you have seen the word empire strikes back. Well, I'm part of that empire striking back right now. And I'm striking back to bring in the kingdom of God. And here's the way I'm bringing in, and you could even call it Empire Strikes Back, because I'm striking out against the religion that kept us in Babylonian captivity under the rule of the pastor and his staff of associates for so long that we cannot grow and mature. We can never get into the kingdom of God because we're involved in Aaron's priesthood. So now that being said, this is an empire, of the increase of his empire. Not some little regional area in Marshall, Texas. That's a part of my government, if you would. Now, we're going to use another word here in a moment, is the word governor. Ironically, a governor is the governor of the state of Texas, the governor of the state of Arkansas. See, he has a metron. Metron means he has a limited degree of influence or authority and reign. So God given us two words to operate within our domain. So if you've got a dominion and a domain, right? If you've got a domain, that means you have a territory, and that territory is ruled by ordinances of God, celestial ordinances of the kingdom of God. Those two primary ordinances is in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, using the word measure of rule. That means one of those word measure is the word metron, and the other word there is the word ametros. So you're dealing with the two primary words, metron, ametros. It shows you how to rule within a region of my domain. Christ has come and given every king, now listen, every king, even the one sitting out there listening to the gifts, all the governments submitting themselves to the gifts. Think about it for a moment. But all the kings sitting there listening to the pastors, not even realizing they're a king, having no realization whatsoever that they have a domain and a dominion. They do not know that they have a metron and ametros. They don't know that they have, metron is a very legitimate, but also a restrained or, if you would, a restricted perimeter or influence. Then you have ametros, which is your excessive or extreme or exceeding boundaries, which means you're a trespasser, you're a lawbreaker. That's when I tell my wife, you need to shut up and sit down. That's ametros. That's not ruling. That's taking dominion over a person. When we're not supposed to be taking dominion over persons, we're supposed to be taking dominion over enemies. Where are those enemies? Now, let me take a point on that. and break tradition one more time. Break away from tradition. Let me strike back with an empire. The kingdom of God striking back with the rule of man, if you would. The Melchizedek order striking out against Aaron's order. The king versus the pastors, the governments versus the gifts, the sons versus the ministers. These are all an empire striking back at something that I am no longer supporting, and I don't mind saying it publicly. I no longer support it. I'm ready for the battle, ready for the war, being prepared for it for years. I think we need a revolution in America, a kingdom of God revolution. Ezekiel called it the word aval. Aval means I will overthrow, overthrow, overthrow. I think the King James says overturn, overturn, overturn. So he's going to overturn or overthrow this whole dominion of man. Let me make something clear so you guys can realize what I'm preaching here. I'm preaching the gospel of the King has come. And that kingdom is that you're going to learn the same thing Nebuchadnezzar did, that God rules in the kingdoms of men. The empire is striking back against the kingdoms of men versus the kingdom of God. The kingdom of our Christ is striking out against the kingdoms of men who have done nothing but preach this gospel for money. There's more preaching about money today than there ever was at any given time. Are y'all not sick of sending your money to the rich to continue this foolish stadium? And that's all it is. And I suppose I should apologize for the rudeness of the term, but you have got to get the revelation. You put enough money into the kingdom of darkness, into the kingdoms of men to know to stop doing this. Men misappropriating funds. This arena America has no more respect for the ministers. It's all about money. Everything they preach from Jesus Christ is to take it and turn it into some area of 100-fold return financially. You gotta wake up here. This is about the kingdom of God, not about ministers making themselves rich off principles of finances. They're preaching mammon, the spirit of mammon, not preaching the gospel of the kingdom. Now, I've said all that, stirred up enough feathers, get back to this message here. And that is, now like I said, remember, there is within me a strike force. I feel the empire rising up in America. The kingdom of God is coming to the surface, and it is. There's men and women of God all over America that has had enough of the Babylonian bondage, the Babylonian structure, the Babylonian suppression, oppression, the Babylonian system that sets up the priests from the Catholicism, the pastors from the Protestants. This whole system that still links itself to religion, religion, religion. Say it this way. Christ did not come to introduce a religion. He did not come here to set up a religion. He did not come here to manifest a new form of religion. Christ didn't come here for religion. He came here not to set up a church, not to set up a tabernacle, not to set up another temple. And I'd like to say all these churches, find that in the New Testament, that the church became a building. The church was called out people. So what we've done, we've taken Aaron's priesthood, set them up in the Moses tabernacle and called it going to church. So every Sunday the church goes to a building and calls it the church, and then it's the tabernacle of Moses, which has been done away with. It's under the rule of Aaron's priesthood, which has been done away with. I mean, I really can't say it any plainer than that, folks. I mean, you've got to look at what we're doing. Now, as long as we keep doing this, Christ didn't come here to build no building, no temple, no tabernacle. In fact, if you remember, he destroyed it so he could raise up the new order of Melchizedek's priesthood, which at that time that he called you and me. This is the temple of God. This is the tabernacle. This is the sanctuary. It sets up with the outer court, the body, the holy place, the soul, the holy of holies, the spirit. This is the sanctuary. God said, build me a sanctuary. I built him one through Jesus Christ and the redemptive work of the Messiah. This is the sanctuary of God. This is the dwelling place of God. God says, I will not dwell in buildings made with men's hands. So where is he dwelling? He's dwelling within this tabernacle, within this temple. He's dwelling within this body. I am not a church building. I am a church people. Church means a called out. We are people called out of the world. Called out of the world system. Now, notice the word ecclesia is the word 2 Ks. It means double called. We're called out from under the king Pharaoh, the world system, and we're called out from under King Nebuchadnezzar, the religious structure. So a king comes in with a dominion. He comes in to take over a domain, a territory. What does he first do? He doesn't start killing all of my friends or enemies out there. The enemies are within. The kingdom of God is within. So a king comes in. He overthrows Pharaoh in my life, another king. One king overrules another king, and he's not prophesying to him. He's overthrowing him. He's not ministering a word of knowledge to this king Pharaoh. He's destroying his kingdom. He's annihilating. He's aval, overthrowing him. So now a king comes in. He overthrows Pharaoh, the world system, gets out of me the worldliness of my life. And then he comes in, and King Jesus, and overthrows King Nebuchadnezzar, which means now he sends out a decree to Nebuchadnezzar, aval, overthrow religion in Randy's life, sets up a decree, overthrow Pharaoh in his life. So I got two kings that Christ has overthrown. Pharaoh, kings of this cosmos, world system, money, fame, recognition, glory, prestige, all these wonderful things we want, finances, blessings, more cars, bigger homes, overthrow, aval. He didn't come for none of that. Folks, he didn't come to make you rich. He came for you to make his kingdom rich. He's not here to serve us. We're here to serve him. He didn't come here to make us something. He's come within us to make him something. I'm here to increase his kingdom, of the increase of his government, his empire. I'm here to increase his ministry, his outreach, his structure, his kingdom, his sonship, his glory, his honor, his fame, his recognition. I'm not here to set up Randy Shankle Ministries Incorporated. I'm here to set up his name. And Jesus said, if they come in their name, and don't tell me they haven't come in their name in America, these ministries are all called by the glorious name of the first name of the person who birthed it. It's not about coming in our name. Jesus said, go in my name. I'm here to set up his ministry, his kingdom, his kingship, his priesthood. My purpose, your purpose is clear. We're not here for spiritual Santa Claus to prosper us. We're here to bless him. It's not him blessing us. He's anointed us to promote him. And we've reversed all this because we're preaching fame, success, glory, overthrow, aval. See, that's worldly Christianity, carnal Christianity. So I give it to you this way. Let the King of Kings come into your life now and overthrow the enemies that are within. King Pharaoh, cast him out. King Nebuchadnezzar, worldly, cast it out. Nebuchadnezzar, religion, cast it out. Get out of you the world system. Now let me say this. You have two political powers, the same as you did in Rome, the same as we do now in America, and the church and the state. They use the term that the state and the church should be separated. Believe me, they've been separated since the time of Babylonian captivity through Catholicism. It's always been a king, right? The king of the world, and then you got Catholicism, the religions of the world. Now you got in America, you got the same thing. You got presidents and you got religion. So we don't have the king, we got presidents. We don't have Catholicism, we got Protestants. Same identical structure. You can't get the peace between the two because the world, Satan says, make sure you separate the church and the state. Well, it should be in the natural. But in Zechariah, it says that the peace shall be between them both. There's coming together in me a peace between being a king and a priest. I'm able to accept the political structure of the kingdom of God as well as the ministerial structure of the priesthood. I love this stuff, man. It brings peace to me. That means there's peace with me being a king. There's peace with me being a priest. I don't separate the church and the state. I incorporate the spiritual aspect, if you would, of the priesthood of Melchizedek. I incorporate, if you would, the kingship of our king of the Melchizedek. You've got these two, should be at peace. Somewhere in your life, you've got to reconcile the two and do what Zechariah 6 says, be at peace, both with being a king and a priest. I hope you get this. Looking forward to it the next time with you.